The career you want is not working more hours. Let me give you some context for that. One of the things that I experienced in my career was making sure that I worked hard. Yeah, because we're told this, hard work, there's no difference, hard work, hard work, hard work. And so we confuse hard work with more work. And so we actually put in more hours, burn ourselves out. We don't actually get the results we're looking for. You do need to be more productive. I would agree with that. But like, this video is really for those executives who've already had a couple of decades of experience and you're looking for the next level for you. You may feel like you've plateaued right now, or you're looking for some advice on where your next step is. I like to work with people on zip code to zip code transitions. You are already successful. You just need a little bit of guidance, a little bit of help to move you to the next place. And I would be delighted to help you do that. Now let's dive into some actions here about what is the solution to this. If the career you want is not working more hours, then what do you need to be doing? Let's jump right in here and tell you that I do not believe in the phrase work-life balance. So if you believe in that phrase, you can jump out right now. There's no such thing as a work-life balance, because if you're working, your life is down. And if you're enjoying your life, your work is down. I'd rather you think about putting work around your life. That's right. Focus on your life first. So as you plan out your days, your weeks, your months, your life is inserted into your calendar, your schedule, your diary, whatever that is for you. And you can see where your family, your fun, and your freedom time is. And you've got that mapped out. I look at how we work in the working world today, and we probably take up about 12% of our time working in our whole lifetime. So we're going to be around 700,000 hours for those of us who are living to life expectancy. Some of us already have 1 million hours. We'd love to be here for 1 million hours. You're only going to actually work about 90,000 hours of your life. The rest of it is in childhood, in your senior years. That's what's going on for you. And you have time off at the end of every day, even if you're working 40 hours, that happens for you. But typically, you're only going to be working for a short amount of time. So it makes sense to just keep focusing on the life that you want, rather than the career that's going to be controlling the life that you want. A lot of people feel trapped and stuck. And if you're in that person, this video is great for you, because I'm going to give you some of the information around that. So let's try and think about planning out our life first. So at the beginning of every week, just Sunday, Monday, write down, hey, where's my fun? Where are the things where I'm going to be taking care of me? When is the bit where I'm taking care of this temple of mine, this health and fitness regime? Can I see that in your calendar if we were to sit down? This is vital, vital stuff. There is no reason for us to work a 40-hour work week anymore. In fact, I believe in strive for 30. And there's a good reason for that, because we confuse hard work with more work. So when people say to us, whether they're influencers or gurus or managers, you've got to put the hours in. I remember one of my bosses said to me once, James, you're not really here long enough for a person in your position. What a complete and utter nonsense and terrible thing to say. And by the way, I was working 10 hours a day at that point, but still, you're not here long enough. None of that makes sense if that work and the hours I'm putting in isn't productive. And you know this yourself, because most people work an 8-hour day in an office. If you're a director, or you're somebody, an executive who's watching this and you've seen some of my content before, you're typically working 8 to 10-hour days. If you're remote, I know you're not putting the hours in anyway. Productivity is typically 2 to 3 hours per day, which means we can all condense our days into a lot less time. 2 or 3 hours of productive, deep work, of actually doing the work that increases income and saves money and improves the results of the company. And then 2 or 3 hours maybe of planning and creativity and administration. We don't actually need to do more hours. There's definitely something to be focused on, is how can you become more productive? And this is a skill for you to learn over time. And it's how I now structure my own days, so that it's 6 hours a day. Take my weekends off and not work those weekends. That 40-hour work week is a relatively new phenomenon. We didn't make it law in the United States until the 40s. Other countries in the late 40s and 50s, and then there are even countries who didn't put a 40-hour work week into law until the 60s. But even if you go back to Ford Motor Company, which seems to have gone on a full cycle here, they were working 10 to 12 hours, 6 days a week in the beginning. At the beginning of 1914, they changed that to 8 hours per day, and now you can go back to Ford Motor Company and you can work 12-hour shifts. So it doesn't matter that more hours is going to make the difference for you. That company is building cars, rolling cars out, and they're going to need people to do that. But for you, I want you to think about productivity. Focus on where can you be more productive. And actually, that strive for 30, less time equals more productivity. And there are countless studies that show that in that 8-hour workday in an office environment, or you're a remote employee, you're only really working for 2 or 3 hours at a time. So it's how do you think about structuring your day so that you don't attend meetings that don't deliver any value or you are not contributing to, and maybe yourself get out of that and just focus on the things that are going to move the needle for you. And that typically is only about 20% of the tasks assigned to you. Hi, it's James. If you're watching this video right now, one of the things that I would love for you to take advantage of is my free introductory course. That means if you're a director, senior director, vice president, or C-suite executive right now, and you'd like help with your career for where you are to move you from zip code to zip code, Go down in the description. I put a link there for you where you can book an intro call with me and we can have a quick conversation for less than 30 minutes where I will give you 2 or 3 big ideas that you can implement immediately. The number one question I get asked for people who are having this issue with they don't have the ability to take time off because their boss wants them to work on the shift or wants them to be in the office 9 to 5. Or in my case, as my boss said to me, James, you need to be here more hours. This kind of nonsense model that we're working in. I just need you to think about that model I talked about at the beginning, plan your work around your life. So as long as your life is scheduled, that's the secret. Are you planning better than you did last week? So start thinking about your planning cycle. When are you going to plan your week? When are you going to plan your month? I recommend on the first of every month, you plan your month out. And at the beginning of every week, as it is for me on a Sunday, plan your week out. Plan the times when you're going to be having fun, when you're going to be doing the self-care. Get that done at the beginning of the week. Because most of what happens in my members community and what happens with my clients and happens with consulting clients when I'm on site and I'm talking to leadership teams, I notice something very different about the way people behave. Some people have got this mapped out and they are focused on their life. Other people are just focused on the work and they're complaining about the people who are focused on their lives. This is about attitude and identity and how you see yourselves. But one thing's common with all of these people. The planning is very ineffective, inefficient. The way you schedule your days, your weeks, your months matters to how you feel about the phrase work hard, hard work. Because productivity is essential, and you can only get productivity if you've scheduled the block time. Now, I'm not saying I want to see a calendar that's got back to back and everything's planned out to the minute. In fact, I know people who plan their entire life to the minute. They're very, very unproductive. And it's because there's a thing called task switching going on, where they're doing one activity for an hour, shifting to another activity for the next hour, shifting to another one. And this may look like back-to-back meetings for you, or back-to-back conversations in one-to-ones where you have a whole day of one-to-one meetings. That can be very unproductive, especially if most of the conversation isn't talking about productivity, isn't talking about output. It's actually just relationship conversation, or you're talking about what's on the latest Netflix box series. Some of this happens. So you'll be very mindful of how productive your time is and be very protective of the boundaries around your time. But I recommend it's block time in your calendars. So if I can look at your calendar, I should be able to see what you're working on. Can I do that? Can we sit down and have a conversation where I can see exactly what you're working on? Okay, final thing I want to say here is if you want to have a career that's really filling you up, and it's not about working more hours, you do need to find the time where you detach from work. It's one of the biggest mistakes I made in my corporate career of looking back at the times where at 5 a.m. or 5:30 a.m., I would be responding to emails and text messages that had been sent to me after 7 p.m. the previous day. Or in the case of the boss who thinks I should be there more hours, at 5:45 or 6 a.m., I would get a text. Have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? It's just kind of nauseating communication strategy that doesn't make any sense, all rooted in insecurities and ego and power and prestige and all those kind of ugly negative consciousness states. It doesn't make any sense at all. So I recommend that if you are waking up in the morning and you're looking at your phone immediately, you detach from that and start setting some more intention about when are you going to start work. And for most people, that doesn't need to be in bed. If it is in bed for you, that's where you may be experiencing some of the negative emotions or mixed emotions every day about what it is you do in your career. So detach from that at the beginning of the day. Make sure you know when your work starts and you are clear, it's planned, and it's structured. But you also need to know, when do you detach at the other end of the day? Are you taking work with you? Yeah. Are you working from home? And this is common too. And I made this same mistake, that I would leave our offices sometime between 5 and 8 p.m. It really didn't matter if I was working hard. Sometimes I would leave the office and then I would carry on working, still looking at emails at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 9 p.m., and then responding to a boss between 10 and 11 p.m. at night. This is very inefficient, very unproductive. It's not a way for you to continue. And if you're feeling that your career is about working more hours and you're this person who is just like I was, who's the 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. junkie, you may be addicted to your work, and that's possible too. Your career and the success of your career and the productivity, the reward, the recognition, and the things that you want to get out of it is rooted in, where do you detach? And you certainly look at, can I be more productive? Can I put more time into my family, my freedom, my health, my longevity, so I can perhaps have those million hours on the planet? Hey, if you love this video on taking a look at how you can become more productive and not work more hours in your work to get more reward, I want you to just check out this next video. I'm going to see you inside there, where I'm going to talk you through some more concepts about how you can get career and mission growth for you. I'll see you there.